Devotee, start.
Yes, Rangadam. It is difficult to acquire or to practice this faith and steadfastness on the rough and narrow path of yoga because of the impatience of both heart and mind and the eager but soon faltering will of our rajasic nature. The vital nature of man hungers always for the fruit of its labor, and if the fruit appears to be denied or long delayed, he loses faith in the ideal and in the guidance. For his mind judges always by the appearance of things, since that is the first ingrained habit of the intellectual reason in which he so inordinately trusts. Nothing is easier for us than to accuse God in our hearts when we suffer long or stumble in the darkness, or to abjure the ideal that we have set before us. For we say, I have trusted to the highest and I am betrayed into suffering and sin and error. Or else I have staked my whole life on an idea which the stern facts of experience contradict and discourage. It would have been better to be as other men are, who accept their limitations and walk on the firm ground of normal experience. In such moments, and they are sometimes frequent and long, all the higher experience is forgotten and the heart concentrates itself in its own bitterness. It is in these dark passages that it is possible to fall for good or to turn back from the divine labor.
That's it. So, this is the discouragement that comes in the long path of yoga. So, it is natural, but you should not be able to succumb to it. Somewhere in the being, you should have a faith that things will turn around. You should feel like it. So, we'll read each sentence and see. This is a, so I'm not saying it is normal. Okay, if you are sincere, it is difficult to acquire or to practice this faith and steadfastness on the rough and narrow path of yoga. Note the word rough. Nothing is very easy, and narrow also, because slightly you go this way, that way. Narrow path reminds you of the image of the Kshurasya Dhara in the Katha Upanishad. Narrow and straight and sharp like a razor's edge is the path of yoga. And it is so famous a quotation that Somerset Maugham even wrote a novel on that. And even a film was made on that, The Razor's Edge. Okay? It is a story of how Somerset Maugham himself came to India. He was a novelist, but a very good novelist. His novels are very famous. And he came and went to Raman Maharshi's ashram, and that changed his life entirely. And then he came to the ashram also. But at that time, he came without telling anybody, and he just came and went away. Okay. Long afterwards, in the reception room, they found a visiting card which said Somerset Maugham. So they know that he came here. And after this only, he wrote that famous novel of his, The Razor's Edge. It was even made into a film. Even the film is available even now. Okay. So some years ago, I had a look at that film also. There's, and in the novel, he says that now I'm going to describe something, and those who are interested only in the novel can skip this passage. And it is all about his spiritual pursuit. Okay. So it is difficult to acquire or to practice this faith and steadfastness. To be very, very steadfast is difficult. Human nature gets encouraged very easily and discouraged even more easily. That's the whole problem. Steadfast on the rough and narrow path of yoga because of the impatience of both heart and mind and the eager but soon faltering will of our Rajasic nature. Okay. I remember the soon faltering will of our Rajasic nature. It is so obvious that even in matters where it is not even spiritual, okay, it acts there also. Very quickly you lose your faith. I remember it's an incident I'm going to tell you. Okay, It is about a Westerner. He was an American. And he was here in the ashram for some time. And there was a question of walking to Ginji. Okay, during the December months. Those days they used to go cycling, they used to go walking to Ginji and all. Okay, so they said, would you like to come? I won't take the name, but he is not there now. I think he's gone away. So, would you like to come? Oh yes, certainly I'd like to come. I'd like to walk to Ginji. They said fine. So they started one morning, and he started walking, and he was not used to walking. Okay, so he walked about 1 mile, and he said, "Oh my God, this is quite difficult." And then by the time they came to Jibmer, only Jibmer, he said, "My God, this is a one big mistake I have made," and he went back. So even for ordinary things, we can have this sort of feeling. Because you don't estimate your own capacity and your own what you are capable of doing. You start something and give it up very easily. This is quite common. Many people start something and then give it up. So this is something that you should never do. When you start something, be sure that you intend to continue. Don't do it in a very cavalier spirit. Okay? When you start something, you must. Otherwise, don't start it at all. Okay? This is not my my capacity won't allow this, and you wait until you are capable. Okay? So it is difficult to acquire or to practice this faith in steadfastness on the rough and narrow path of yoga. Not only yoga, as I told you, in everything it is like that. Because of the impatience of both heart and mind, and the eager but soon faltering will of a Rajasic nature. The vital nature of man hungers always for the fruit of its labor. We always want success. No? When we do something, we want to see succeed. Fruit of its labor. And if the fruit appears to be denied or long delayed, that also is possible. He loses faith in the ideal and in the guidance. There is a story of Narad, if you remember, a yogi and a farmer, poor farmer, very simple man, okay, and Narad is going to go to see Vishnu, okay, or whatever, maybe Brahma, I don't remember now anymore. So he goes and the yogi asks him, "You are going to see Vishnu?" He said, "Yes, I'm going to see." "Why don't you ask him how long it will take me to realize the divine?" So he said, "Yes, I will ask him." Then he meets the farmer, the very poor farmer. And the poor farmer also asks him, "You are going to see Vishnu?" He said, "Yes." "Ask him how long I will take to get my liberation." He said, "I will ask." So he goes up, and when he comes down again to the earth, he meets the yogi first. And he tells the yogi, "Yes, I have asked Vishnu." And yogi very eagerly he asks him, "What did Vishnu say?" He said that you will realize the divine in 5 lives. So this yogi starts lamenting and saying, "My God, I have put in so much effort and I have to steal 5 more lives. This is too much. How cruel the divine is." Okay? And he goes on. And then he meets the farmer. I think I've told you this story. Anyway, he meets the farmer. The farmer also asked him, "Did you ask Vishnu how long I will take?" He said, "Yes, I asked him." And he told me. What did he say? He said, "You will take 1,000 lives to realize the divine." And the farmer was overjoyed. He says, "My God, whether it is 1,000 or whatever, but I'm going to see the Lord. How kind he is." So there is a story that illustrates the impatience of those who are very, very impatient. Okay, so and it's an interesting story. So that's what they describe. Okay? The vital nature of man hungers for the fruit of his labor, and the fruit appears to be denied or long delayed. He loses faith in the ideal and in the guidance. Okay? For his mind judges always by the appearances of things, since that is the first ingrained habitude of the habit, sorry, not habitude, the French word, of the intellectual reason in which he so inordinately trusts. All human beings trust their judgment, mental judgment, very easily. Nothing is easier for us than to accuse God in our hearts when we suffer long and stumble in the darkness, or to abjure the ideal that we have set before us. For we say, I have trusted to the highest, and I am betrayed into suffering and sin and error. Or else, I have staked my whole life on an idea with the stern facts of experience, which the stern facts of experience contradict and discourage. It would have been better to be as other men are, who accept their limitations and walk on the firm ground of normal experience. You feel like that discouraged. In such moments, and Srimba is saying, and they are sometimes frequent and long. Just imagine. Can you imagine Srimba's condition? Without clothes, without money, he comes to Pondicherry. So, what difficulties? Even that difficulties for food also at one time. So, Srimba is saying this, okay? And they are sometimes frequent and long, these periods. All the higher experience is forgotten, and the heart concentrates itself in its own bitterness. It is in these dark passages that it is possible to fall for good or to turn back from the divine labor. Then you become a Bhrashta yogi. You come back and you go back to a your normal life. It happened in ashram many times. Okay? There is one particularly whose correspondence is the largest. Okay? He is Dr. Nayak. Okay? He has a huge correspondence. Next only to, or not even next, but it's even bigger. It's coming out in the bulletin now, Dr. Nayak's correspondence. Niruddha's and Dilip Kumar Roy's are the large correspondences, and Dr. Nayak. But he also went back. It is he who had that shouting match with mother. He shouted at mother one day, and Shivna was in his room, and Shivna was not at all happy with that. And Shivna raised his voice and said, "Who is shouting at the mother?" And that was the end of his career in the ashram. After that, he went away and he resumed the normal life. We have contact. When I was in the archives, we had contact with his son. Okay. And he gave us all the correspondence, and that's why it is now coming out. And even his son was 60 years old when he met him. Okay. But he was very cooperative and he gave all the letters. There you are. So this is you become a Bhrashta yogi. But the Bhrashta yogi doesn't mean to say that you are finished forever. No. Next life you may again pick up the thread. But for that particular life, it's the end. Okay? This was very saying. So it's we have started the beginning of the para with narrow and rough path. So now we're explaining how narrow and rough it can be. Okay. We go to the next para. Who will read? Archana Diya has not read for a long time. If she would like to read, you can.
Okay, Rangadhar. One
Okay.
walk. Yes, Rangadhar. Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you very clearly.
Now?
Slightly better, yeah.
Maybe network problem.
Okay, go ahead.
If one has walked long and steadily in the path, the faith of the heart will remain under the fiercest adverse pressure, even if it is concealed or apparently overwhelmed. It will take the first opportunity to re-emerge. For something higher than either heart or intellect upholds it in spite of the worst stumbling and through the most prolonged failure. But even to the experienced sadhak, such faltering or overclouding bring the retardation of his progress, and they are exceedingly dangerous to the novice. It is therefore necessary from the beginning to understand and accept the arduous difficulty of the path and to feel the need of a faith which to the intellect may seem blind, but yet is wiser than our reasoning intelligence. For this faith is a support from above. It is the brilliant shadow thrown by a secret light that exceeds the intellect and its data. It is the heart of a hidden knowledge that is not at the mercy of immediate appearances. Our faith persevering will sorry, our faith persevering will be justified in its work and will be lifted and transfigured at last into the self-revelation of a divine knowledge. Always we must adhere to the injunction of the Gita. Yoga must be continually applied with a heart free from despondent thinking. Always we must repeat to the doubting intellect the promise of the Master. I'll surely deliver thee from all sin and evil. Do not grieve. At the end, the flickerings of faith will cease, for we shall see his face and feel always the divine presence.
Beautiful, wonderful. So, if one has walked long and steadily in the path, so you go on stumbling, you go on getting up, as Swami used to say, to Nirodha particularly, who was very impatient. Okay, and he used to tell him, what rose petal sadhaks you people are. You get discouraged so easily. Get up, dust yourself, and start walking again. He used to tell him, okay, rose petal sadhaks. You have to be hard and very, very persevering. You can't be soft and delicate and give up the effort as soon as you have a little difficulty. Okay, so that's what said. If one has walked long, and in one case, he tells him, sir, never, never leave me. Don't ever abandon me. And Sri Aurobindo says, abandon never, but beat a lot. He give him a lot of, call him also as a wooden-headed and illogical and all sorts of names he used to call Nirodha. So, if he has walked long and steadily on the path, the faith of the heart will remain under the fiercest adverse pressure. Even if it is concealed or apparently overborne, it will take the first opportunity to re-emerge. Many people say, I have lost my aspirations, sir. What to do? So Sri is saying, you have not lost it. It has only got covered by your depression. Get rid of the depression and it will emerge again. So that's what Sri is pointing out here. Okay? He said, it will take the first opportunity to re-emerge. And he also advises something. He said, if there is no aspiration, wait calmly and quietly. Wait calmly and quietly. Don't start fretting and fuming. For something higher than either heart or intellect upholds it in spite of the worst stumblings and through the most prolonged failure. You can go on failing, old nature will come back, bother you, and you will feel discouraged. But so what is this something higher than heart or intellect? It's a psychic being. A psychic being, or if you have had experience of the self once, then that also is the faith remains, because you know that that's possible. Intellect upholds in spite of the worst stumblings and through the most prolonged failure. But even to the experienced sadhak, such falterings or overcloudings bring a retardation of his progress, and they are exceedingly dangerous to the novice. Now, this overclouding is a very interesting phenomenon, and I want to just give you an example of what happened. Okay, I'll be very frank and tell you that it happened to me. Okay, so I used to be quite cheerful even when I'm working, but one day some incident happened, and I felt tremendously depressed. Okay, and that depression, normally when it comes, it stays for 24 hours or 36 hours or even 48 hours. Then slowly it disappears. But then you don't understand the nature of that overclouding. But that day what happened was very interesting. In 2 hours, I regained my cheerfulness. And it was very intense depression. So then I understood what Sri means by overclouding. The cheerfulness is below, but it gets covered up by the depression and you feel that you have gone, finished. But then clouding can disappear very quickly. And when it disappears very quickly, you realize it's an overclouding. It's not something that is coming in you. It's coming from outside and covering your cheerfulness. I'm talking only of cheerfulness, but it can be for your aspiration also. Okay, so that's what I mean by overclouding. Every word that Sri Aurobindo uses has got implications. So overclouding, your aspiration does not go. but it gets covered up with something, a temporary clouding comes and it goes away. Brings a retardation of the progress, and they are exceedingly dangerous to the novice. You must not allow it to continue. It is therefore necessary from the beginning to understand and accept the arduous difficulty of the path and to feel the need of a faith which to the intellect may seem blind. There is a lot of discussion about whether faith is blind or not. Okay, the faith blind necessarily is blind because you don't reason it out. It's not reason; it is there. Just you know that this is going to happen. Okay. Actually, where is it gone? Yeah, a faith which to the intellect may seem blind, but yet is wiser than our reasoning intelligence. It reminds me of a line in The Mother. Sherlock says very clearly, follow your heart, okay, and not your mind that leaps at appearances. This is what it says in the, follow your heart and not your mind that leaps at appearances. So that's a mind. It is doubts. For this faith is a support from above. It should. Now he's saying from above. So that also is there. But you can feel that if your faith in the mother is 100%, then it comes. There is a correspondence of Jivan Bhai is now coming out in the bulletin. And there also he gets sometimes very depressed. He says, I want to leave the work. But he knows that mother is there. And in the letter itself, he writes all the time, I know you are there and I will continue to work. This depression is bound to happen when you are a human being. Up and down, up and down. So, for this faith is a support from above. It's a brilliant shadow thrown by a secret light that exceeds the intellect. So very clearly, when it exceeds the intellect, it's the self. Okay? Your own Brahman consciousness. And it's greater. It is the heart of a hidden knowledge that is not at the mercy of immediate appearances. Our faith, persevering, will be justified in its works and will be lifted and transfigured at last into the self-revelation of a divine knowledge. So your faith will become knowledge. Always you must adhere to the injunction of the Gita. Yoga must be continually applied with a heart free from despondent sinking. The phrase used in the Gita is anirvinna chetasa, without depression. No depression at all must come. Yoga must be continually applied with a heart free from despondent sinking. Always you must repeat to the doubting intellect the promise of the Master. I will surely deliver thee from all sin and evil. Do not grieve. Remember that? Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. So this is quoting from the Gita. That's why in inverted commas. At the end, the flickerings of faith will cease, for we shall see his face and feel always the divine presence. So by that time, you are constantly seeing the divine presence and there is no more depression of faith. Okay, so we have time. We can read the next, the master of our work, respects our nature. So who will read? Either Shilpa or Kiran, whoever is ready. Both are ready.
Kiran, if you want, you can read.
Yeah, Kiran.
Okay, Rangada.
Go ahead. The master of our works.
The master of our works respects our nature, even when he is transforming it. He works always through the nature and not by any arbitrary caprice. This imperfect nature of our contains the materials of our perfection, but inchoate, distorted, misplaced, thrown together in disorder, or a poor, imperfect order. All this material has to be patiently perfected, purified, reorganized, new, molded, and transformed, not hacked and hewn and slain or mutilated, not obliterated by simple coercion and denial. This world and we who live in it are his creation and manifestation, and he deals with it and us in a way our narrow and ignorant mind cannot understand unless it falls silent and opens to a divine knowledge. In our errors is the substance of a truth which labors to reveal its meaning to our groping intelligence. The human intellect cuts out the error and the truth with it and replaces it by another half truth, half error. But the divine wisdom suffers our mistakes to continue until we are able to arrive at the truth hidden and protected under every false cover. Our scenes are misdirected steps of a seeking power that aims not at sin but at perfection, at something that we might call a divine virtue. Often they are the veils of a quality that has to be transformed and delivered out of this ugly disguise. Otherwise, in the perfect providence of things, they would not have been suffered to exist or to continue. The master of our works is neither a blunderer, nor an indifferent witness, nor a dallier with the luxury of unneeded evils. He is wiser than our reason and wiser than our virtue.
There is a very interesting paragraph. A friend is saying that the guru of a integral yoga does not find fault with you and asks you to get rid of your faults. He transforms the faults into something positive. Now that's a very interesting discussion, and we will see how that is done. Okay, so we'll see. Very interesting discussion because this is applicable only in the integral yoga. Okay, the guru looks at you and sees your defects. For instance, if you have attraction for something, strong attraction, it is something which is inimical to your yoga, but the divine will turn that attraction to something positive. Okay, it will turn that attraction to something beautiful or to something divine. So it's only a question of orientation. Suppose you hate something and you hate somebody, okay, or you hate something which you don't like. That hate also can be turned towards the defects in yourself. So it's only a question of orientation. It's a very interesting phenomenon what Shendra is talking about here. Okay? So he does not destroy. For instance, mother did not approve at all of smoking and drinking. Okay, but she did not clamp down on several in the ashram. Okay? Very clearly. And one was, he is not there anymore, so I can tell you, but it won't make any sense to you. There was one gentleman who used to smoke all the time. Okay? And mother knew it perfectly well, but she didn't say anything to him. And another gentleman also was there. I remember he was our teacher. He used to also smoke at night. Okay, mother didn't like it, but she wouldn't say anything. Then the most blatant case is Satprem. He used to go to mother twice a week for the agenda, and he used to smoke regularly. And mother even jokes about it. Okay, so she doesn't tell him you stop, but she will work on him so that he loses the attraction and the attachment to it. That's how the integral yoga guru does the work. They don't destroy, because take a very mischievous boy, okay, or a girl. Okay? They are all the time doing mischief. Now, a good teacher will see that his energy is being turned to mischief. Turn that energy to something good, okay, some interest. Make him take interest in something. His energy you shouldn't destroy. If you scold him and say, don't do this, don't do that, along with that, the energy also will go away. Okay? So turn the energy to something good. This is exactly what is being said in this paragraph. Okay? So we'll have a look at it and you will see.
Rangada, one question.
Yes.
In this, the person has to be receptive to it also, no?
Of course, of course.
When the mother works on, otherwise it won't happen.
Yeah, that's right. You have
like when you mentioned a smoker, he would like to stop it. Then only mother can work. If he doesn't want to stop it, then how can mother work on him?
That's right. Quite right. So But she won't give up the effort. She will keep trying to change him. If you are a sadhak and you are a disciple, if you are not, mother won't bother. Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying. It depends on each individual. A time comes when they give it up. Now, the master of our works respects our nature. Now, what does that mean? That means to say he takes account of all your defects and all your, how will you call it? I won't call it virtue because virtue is a very moral idea, but all your strong points, if you want. Okay, so the divine will see that, encourage your strong points and try to turn your defects into something towards which it can be turned to. Okay, so, and I gave you examples just now. Okay, exactly like the master of our works respects our nature. He doesn't, even when he is transforming it. So he goes on transforming, and how does the guru transform in the integral yoga? By identifying himself with you and knowing your defects. Now, when he identifies himself with you, he knows your defects. And when he starts doing yoga, with his yoga, he is doing your yoga. Okay? In the integral yoga, it does not always apply to every yoga. It does not. But this is why Ramakrishna used to say that my cancer came to me because I had absorbed all the defects of my disciples. Okay? So they don't mind because it makes no difference to them. So this is what it happened also once with mother. She fell seriously ill because she was helping everybody, and Srindu said that no, we will stop the blessings and the soap distribution because the sadhaks are not responding. So what Pallavi is saying is true. If you are not receptive and you are not responding, and the guru then suffers unnecessarily, then a stop can be made for some temporary time. It can be done. So this is what he's saying in this sentence. The master of our works respects our nature, even when he is transforming. He doesn't criticize you. Okay? He works always through the nature and not by any arbitrary caprice, not any whimsical fancy. No. This imperfect nature of ours contains the materials of our perfection, but inchoate. Now, what does the word inchoate means? It means initial, incipient, beginning. Okay? It's just beginning. Okay? Disorganized, that's all. Distorted, misplaced, thrown together in disorder or poor imperfect order. So all errors and wrong habits are nothing but misplacement or distortions of something good. All this material, the material of a human character, has to be patiently perfected, purified, reorganized, new molded and transformed, not hacked and hewn and slain or mutilated like in the other yogas. Get rid of desire, stop eating what you want to eat all the time. Stop all your desires, kill them. But when you kill desires, you are also killing the energy. That's the whole problem. So then you become tamasik. He has described this in other place also. So rather than kill the energy along with, that's what Swami will tell you a little later on, along with the wrong habit, and the energy also is being killed. So that has to be avoided in the integral yoga. So, all this material has to be patiently perfected, purified, reorganized, new molded and transformed, not hacked and hewn or slain or mutilated, not obliterated by simple coercion and denial. So sometimes you need to apply a very strong will, but it is not to be simply, if it's a very strong attachment, give it up and run away. No. Just work on yourself slowly, 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 patiently. This world and we who live in it are his creation and manifestation. And he deals with it and us in a way our narrow and ignorant mind cannot understand unless it falls silent and opens to a divine knowledge. In our errors is the substance of the truth which labors to reveal its meaning to our groping intelligence. Very clear sentence. There is saying, your error contains the truth. Your error contains the truth. When you make an error and you are sincere, then you know what is the truth. It hides the truth and directs you to the truth. The human intellect cuts out the error and the truth with it, okay, and replaces it by another half truth or half error. But the divine wisdom suffers our mistakes, suffers in the sense of bears, endures, okay, and experiences our mistakes to continue until we are able to arrive at the truth in and protected under every false cover. Our sins are the misdirected steps away, seeking power that aims not at sin, but at perfection, at something that we might call a divine virtue. Why is the saying we might call a divine virtue? Because the word virtue is usually misinterpreted. Okay? So virtue usually is a moral idea. So when you go into spiritual consciousness, neither sin nor virtue affect you. Okay, nor virtue also. You are not impressed by so-called virtues. Often they are the veils of a quality that has to be transformed and delivered out of this ugly disguise. So all your errors and all your attachments and all these things are nothing but disguises. So you have to get rid of the disguise, transform them, that's all. Otherwise, in the perfect providence of things, they would not have been suffered to exist or to continue. So simply is saying, all the defects that exist in the world, the divine is tolerating it. Okay. Why? Because there is a meaningfulness in them. All the wrong things actually can turn you towards the defects are the encouragement to go beyond your defects. They have a function to play in the world. They would not have suffered to exist or to continue. The master of our works is neither a blunderer, nor an indifferent witness, nor a dallier. He doesn't delay. Okay? Dallier means to be very casual and go on making, postponing things. That's a dallier. To dally with the luxury of unneeded evils. He knows what the evil is, and still he will allow it to continue until it is transformed. He is wiser than our reason and wiser than our virtue. Okay? So we have got 2 minutes left. We'll have to stop here today. Our nature is not only mistaken. So very interesting. There is a fundamental difference between other yogas and the integral yoga. In the integral yoga, you can't afford to be impatient. Yes.
If one opens to one's psychic being,
Ah,
then one will not walk on the razor edge.
when you open to the psychic being, the psychic will is so strong that it's easy to get rid of your defects. When the psychic being is very strong. But sometimes, then it's very easy because the will becomes absolutely powerful. When Sirma speaks of the will, it's always in the psychic being. Things which you found it very difficult to get rid of, when the psychic comes forward, easily you can give it up. Very easily.
That means you don't walk on the razor edge anymore.
Yeah. You don't walk on the old path. You start walking on the new path. That's right.
But the new path also can have the razor edge,
Oh, yes. Definitely the new path also has got problems. No doubt. See, just take Srebno's case. Nah? In Baroda, he had so many spiritual experiences. Okay? And in jail, he had the most maximum spiritual experiences. But when he came to Pondicherry, what was the difficulties he had to face? Unbelievable. Nobody knows, no work. Then When Calcutta, he was working day and night. Okay? But here in Pondicherry, nobody knows him. And no work at all, no money, no clothes even. No clothes even, which is that bad. No food sometimes. So you can imagine the difficulties. Difficulties won't disappear. Difficulties will remain until you conquer them.
In his experiences in yoga, does he mention when he opens to his psychic being?
It was in the jail.
Pardon?
In the jail, when he was in jail,
Huh.
he had the experience of love and devotion to Krishna. So that is the psychic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Means it was quite late, much after Baroda, that he opened to his psychic being.
Quite right. In his case, the psychic came after the peace. First of all, the Brahmic consciousness self and peace. In mother's case, it was the opposite. Okay, it was a psychic being right from the beginning, but she was getting the silent mind, but it was not permanent. So when she came to Sri Aurobindo in 1910, Sri Aurobindo put his hand on her head and blessed her, and the silent mind became permanent. So it was the other case, in mother's case. It was the other way around. First the psychic, then the spiritual silence. And for Sri Aurobindo, it was the opposite. Spiritual silence first, and then the psychic awakening later. Okay?
Merci beaucoup.
Okay.
Au revoir. Bonne journée, Murangada. Merci.
Everybody,
Thank you, Angada.
have a nice day.
Thank you, Rangada.